I'd like to introduce Jen and Rob directly to the stage. This is Jen of Pixamondo. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is going to be a real pleasure because Jen is one of the key artists at Pixamondo Burbank, working on shows like Terra Nova, Jen Hachigi and everybody. We're going to take a little seat here and have a conversation. You know, I want to know all this stuff myself. This is an interesting, fun thing for all of us. But Jen has been a key artist, a key, what we call technical director as well.
I'd like to say my main contribution to Pixamondo on the Lightwave side has been technical, as a technical director, pipeline artist. They brought me in originally as a real floor artist, then they found out that I knew Lightwave and that I could program. So they've been having me do tons of Python scripts to smooth out the pipeline.
And I've known Jen for, geez, we were calculating the other day, like maybe 18 years or something. We worked back at Netter.
Let's see, I worked at Netter in 2000, so yeah, 12 years.
12 years, okay. So I've been in the industry for 20 years, so I'm projecting onto you. But, you know, definitely the cool thing about Jen is if you want to get the job done, she's like an amazing superstar that you want to bring in to your production.
Thank you.
For as long as I've known you. So why don't you tell us on Terra Nova some of the things that you did on what we're looking at?
Oh, let's see now.
You got the monitor right there that's showing you.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, this is a good shot. Well, as an artist, what I was contributing as an artist would have been the dynamics. So when the dinosaurs are moving around, they're kicking up rocks, they're kicking up leaves, they're kicking up straw. You can see them like interacting with the plate there. Now, as a pipeline artist, my contribution to the film was to smooth out the transition, because all the tools were there. Lightwave 10 had native XML support for Maya geocaches, so all we had to do was we had to just make it go a little bit faster. So what I did was I wrote some Python scripts for Maya so that the animators, when they were done, they would click a button and out would pop a Lightwave scene with that had the geocaches loaded.
That's an important point. Is I forgot to mention is, you know, in the past, Lightwave had LScript-like language that was a separate language. It was like MELScript, but it was LScript, and we have integrated Python scripting natively in Lightwave so that, you know, any pipeline around the world, you know that people are using Python scripting as the basis. All the studios, everybody is using that. So I just want to mention to the people that are watching around the world on the stream that we are not able to show the Hunger Games and the Amazing Spider-Man footage. Amazing Spider-Man is obviously still in theaters, and we do not have clearance yet to show around on the internet these clips. So we're going to be focusing on me and Jen for this segment. So hopefully you enjoyed all the crazy cool dinosaurs that were from Terra Nova, because I love that stuff too.
Oh yeah, and I don't think it'll be on. Oh yeah, Lightwave treetops in the live action plate so that they obscure the hovercraft nicely. So that's a Jason Schulman piece.
Great.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Is there anything else that you want to share? Anything you want to call back up and discuss about the footage, or?
Well, the machine from Spider-Man. There's from Amazing Spider-Man.
Can we pull the machine back up from Amazing Spider-Man and look at that machine?
Well, the one thing I want to point out is that one, because you were mentioning before, like we work with Maya assets, but for a lot of our shots, we can also do it straight out of Lightwave. So what Jason Schulman did to client specifications, he designed it, modeled it, rigged it, surfaced it, lit it, and Ed Ruiz II also pitched in on the site lighting and surfacing a bit, but for the CG side of things, that was effectively like almost entirely the work of one person, which is so rare in feature film visual effects.
Can we run it again? Let's run it again.
I've worked on feature films, and usually, I mean, on Guardian, it was me and 20 other people for just one shot for 9 months. This one, it was one guy, just one artist, and it was, you almost never see that kind of personal vision in feature film visual effects. Usually it's a huge collaborative effort. An orchestra can make some incredibly powerful music, but sometimes the personal nature of a solo artist is attractive too. Like, people enjoy seeing both. Whatever you choose to do, Lightwave will fit both paths, in my opinion. Because I've done feature films with large collaborative groups. I mean, on Terra Nova, Hunger Games, and Spider-Man, I was one piece of a large a large group. We had a very good crew of some incredible Lightwave artists, and I got to be a part of that. Another thing that I'd like to bring up on Terra Nova, yes, all the dinosaurs were animated in Maya and brought over to Lightwave, but all of the set extensions, those were straight Lightwave. Pierre Drolet modeling the centrifuge, the time tunnel, or the city of the future. Like, Pierre modeled all that, and then it was just a straight Lightwave to After Effects combination. So
yeah, and we're talking about, you know, we're talking about the final renders here in the package. The thing that some people don't understand is, I think in Lightwave, you got to realize you're actually working in the renderer. When you start your work, you're in that render engine already. You don't have to prepare. This is what we were talking about.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, because I've only worked in Lightwave since 1999, so I made some assumptions about other packages that I found out weren't entirely true. I mean, I found out that with other packages, the way they work is you assemble things together, and then when you're done, you present it to the render engine. And maybe the render engine will do what you want, and maybe it won't. But with Lightwave Layout, as soon as you open it up, you got a camera in there, you have a light in there, all you need is to load an object, hit F9, and you've got a render. It is ready to go. You are starting from the finish line. It is a very... It's from what I've seen, it's very much a get things done program.
Absolutely. I mean, and that distinction that Jen just said is really important to realize. When you are using different applications, you basically are preparing and creating all of your assets to send them to some other external render engine pipeline, V-Ray, RenderMan, Mental Ray, whatever it is. In Lightwave, when you load in your assets, you begin creating them in Lightwave, you're in the renderer. You don't I mean, I was talking to a reporter the other day, and he said, well, how does Lightwave, the new features, interface with your render shader pipeline? And I was like, the question that you're asking, it doesn't even matter, because the renderer is integrated. You're in the renderer. There is no render shader pipeline that you have to set up or worry about. You just hit F9. We call it F9. It's the thing that renders a frame in the application. And now we have the VPR, as we showed earlier, that's directly in the interface.
But but Lightwave doesn't close the door on you. It does leave the door open for third-party render engine support. For example, K-Ray.
K-Ray, absolutely.
And F-Prime.
F-Prime, and there's some other things that are coming soon for other renderers that are going to be working closely with Lightwave as well.
Yep.
So the great thing about it is you have a choice. You can do whatever works well for your workflow. You know, you have multiple software solutions in your pipeline. Lightwave plugs into that with FBX support, which reports have been works extremely well, in some cases better than other applications going back and forth.
Yeah, for objects, no problem. Like for cameras, it was like 99.9% of the time it was fine. Like every once in a while, you get a fancy Maya camera, and then we had to pull out a custom script.
Right.
But for 99% of the stuff that we did, it was fine. FBX alone was enough. And there was actually there were 4 shots on Hunger Games that aren't on that reel. There was this where we had this train that had been rendered in another render engine, and it was fine, but the compositors didn't have quite everything that they needed, and so they were asking us to use the Lightwave render engine to just give them additional support, like ambient occlusion passes and just a little bit extra here and there. So using FBX, we were able to get those suckers out of Maya, bring it into Lightwave, and just get those shots out for get those passes out for the compositors using our custom render pass software. So it all worked great.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got the pleasure to work with Jen in several productions, and I love the thing she said to me the other night. She said, you know, with Lightwave, it represents, what was it, creative?
Oh, for me, it's freedom.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I say that is because, I mean, all right, when I worked on Spider-Man 2 doing previs for Sam Raimi, I had the pleasure of working with 2 excellent Lightwave artists. One of them who also knew Blender, Anthony Zerhut, and Brad Morris, now known as Brad Moreau. And then there was a third artist who had been brought in from ImageWorks, and he was wonderful too. But he had a different perspective. He would always be part of an orchestra. He would never be a solo artist. At home, he ran an iMac, and that was just to load stuff onto his iPad, onto his iPod.
Photos or music or whatever.
And he was an incredible character animator. This guy had worked on so many major feature films as a character animator, and he would always work on feature films as an amazing character animator. But he had no interest in pursuing his own personal projects or freelance work, and he didn't have to. He had a wonderful job doing character animation work. It's just that he would always be working for a large studio. He would never work on his own personal projects. He didn't have the interest in it, which is fine. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of cellists and violinists who are perfectly happy working in an orchestra and don't plan on going off on
And
their
then there
own.
are people who write the music.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's something I've noticed, is that the Jimmy Neutron short, the F8, Jason Wen's F8.
Oh, do you remember F8? Did anybody remember seeing F8, the short that Jason Wen did? If Jason Wen is watching this stream, I just want to say to him, please make another short. The last time I talked to him, he had gone to work in a pipeline to be a part of a larger pipeline, and he is a poetic filmmaker that made his own film and that moved us all at SIGGRAPH. And I loved his work, and I want to see more stuff from him. But I love that about Lightwave, that you can work in a pipeline, you can do the studio thing, you can collaborate, as filmmaking often has us do, but yet if you have an idea or you want to tell your own story, those tools are in the box there for you for Lightwave. When you look at other reels at other companies, you need to ask the question, like, what am I actually looking at? Is that rendered in your software? Was it textured in your software? Was it modeled in your software? Are there other things that they used in the pipeline that I don't get when I buy that software? You should ask those relevant questions, because with Lightwave, the majority of the stuff that we're showing you on our reels is done completely end-to-end in Lightwave. And then we also support these diverse pipelines that we're showing that Pixamundo uses as well. So you have the best of both worlds. That's a big distinction between the other options that there are as a tool set.
Yeah, I'm very glad that Lightwave plays nice with other packages. That's so important.
Absolutely.
In modern productions, because no one's using one pack. Almost no one's using one package for everything, because, I mean, my gosh, on Terra Nova, it was ZBrush for modeling those creatures, Lightwave for modeling the sets.
Oh, can I just mention that we also added GoZ support? So in Lightwave, you have one of the most robust solutions for ZBrush interchange back and forth between the applications. It works like the push of a button. When we implemented it first, you had to go and actually install and all this kind of stuff. I'm an artist, and I just told the developers, please make it so we push the button and it knows that you want to use ZBrush, and it does everything for you as an artist. You don't have to sit there and configure all this stuff. That's what the computer is supposed to do. We're supposed to be in the art and design things like amazing sculptor, makeup artist, Jordu Shell, who's standing in the back there, I worked with on Avatar, and he's such a talent. We're going to talk to him a little bit later. It's amazing. But the great thing about Lightwave, you got GoZ. Lightwave 11.5 adds interchange support for After Effects. Yes, I love that. There's new buffer support. There's Unity support. If you're doing any kind of game work, we have interactive iteration between Unity, so that when you update things in the scene, it's updated in Unity. We have FBX support, which is second to none. You can get things back and forth between Maya, I'm telling you, super fast. It's awesome. It loads so much amazing data very quickly. Thank you, David Forstenlechner. We love you. And, we're so excited about all of the interchange tools because it allows you to make a choice of how you want to work. But if you want to do everything yourself in Lightwave, when you look at our reel, we can look at you and say, those images that you've seen for 20 years in the shows that you love, we're using our product oftentimes end to end.
I'd like to also add, so far as my personal use of Lightwave, I own a license of Lightwave at home because I can afford it. I can earn money doing freelance work with it. Every skill I acquire at doing freelance or at Pixamundo or as a personal artist, I can apply to the other two. Anything I learn doing personal projects, I can apply it to my work at Pixamundo. Anything I learned at Pixamundo, I can apply to my freelance work. Anything I learned from my freelance work works for me just on everything else. I mean, I can keep learning and getting better at the main package that I use.
Thank you, Jen, so much. We love you. It's awesome.
Thanks, man.
I love her.